Welcome everybody, my name is Steve Kuchin. I'm a holistic health practitioner here in San Diego, California, and welcome to Saturday Distributor and Product Training. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Aalere Bracelet, but before I do, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping here. The statements made in this presentation have not been evaluated by the FDA. Nothing in this presentation should be construed as diagnosing, prescribing, or treating disease. It is presented for education only. We must legally warn you that if you're ill, have any disease, or pregnant or nursing, you should consult your medical doctor before attempting any natural or herbal program. We're going to be talking today about our Aalere bracelet. We have frequencies that we imbue in our bracelet, and we'll get right into our frequencies, what they are. And these provide actual benefits. And these frequencies are really effective. Let's say, put it this way, they're very effective in activating our cells. They're very effective in activating our genome because our cells are very sensitive to energy fields, and they're like little amplifiers, and they listen to just whispers in their environment. What is outside a cell is very important. So if a cell is surrounded by Cheetos and cornflakes and puffed rice with full of sugar, it's going to be sending those signals into your genome. What a horrible thought, right? This is what happens. The cell signal goes through receptors on the surface of every single cell. You have trillions of these receptors, trillions of cells and trillions of receptors on the cells, and they activate the genome via signal, protein signal. Now, around our environment, speaking of what is around our cells, we're surrounded with EMFs, which are biologically active. And from now they have this, they're advertising this fancy 5G that's going around what everybody wants and needs with the new Apple phone, 5G specifically for that. Our signals are going to be so much more stronger than they ever were before. And we're inundated at our stadiums when we go to watch football or baseball, when we're allowed to do that nowadays. Even like the main thing they wanted this 5G is for communication. Now, these cell signals are where we live, where we have our apartment buildings. These cell signals, they permeate walls, they permeate concrete, right? And they're everywhere, in trains, even out in the farm, there's cell signals out there. Very nasty stuff that we have to endure. Here is a tree, which is actually a testimonial of why these signals really are harmful. That's a smart meter. Not very smart. They kill off our trees and with harmful radiation. Now, we have to protect ourselves and our family from this radiation. A thing which happens is called rouleau. Is this a clumping of cellular, the red blood cells in our body, right? And what happens is that there's some very smart men, a lot smarter than me, have really studied, and these are actually photographs of cells. And most of our cells, they're just made out of light. So this is how fine-tuned our cells are. Actually, when you look at a molecular structure of a cell, it's made out of light. And what happens when you bring a human made radiation near an actual human cell, it aberrates that cell. You see how it's concentric when it's a human balance cell? It becomes non-concentric. It actually becomes erratic. This is what happens to every cell in our body. And there has been actual tests have been the exposure to Wi-Fi produces oxidative stress, or reduction of SOD, catalase, and glutathione. Glutathione, master antioxidant in your body. Same thing with the Wi-Fi causes impaired insulin secretion. That means it affects the pancreas. Now, harmful EMF causes mutation of mitochondrial DNA. Your mitochondria, which is your energy units in your body, and like for example, these mitochondria, you could have 5,000 of these in one heart cell, right? But every single mitochondria has its own DNA. And mitochondrial disease, and they have really come down to the wire on this. Anything with mitochondrial dysfunction, this is what causes actual disease. They cause a vast array of health concerns, including fatigue, get this, weakness, metabolic strokes, seizures, cardiomyopathy, arrhythmias, developmental and cognitive disabilities, diabetes, impaired vision, and liver and gastrointestinal and kidney function. And they affect, the mitochondria affect our organ system. So EMF causes mutation of mitochondrial DNA. So this is at the very, when you get a microscope and look down and you see these tiny organisms, organelles in your body, in every single cell, when they get messed up, they mess up the whole entire body. It's like a chain, like a domino effect. So we have hydrogen, the frequency of hydrogen in our Aalere bracelet, and it activates the NRF2 pathway. NRF2 pathway increases the endogenous produced by the body. Glutathione catalase and superoxide dismutase, they increase the production of these antioxidants. The glutathione is one of the major endogenous antioxidants produced by the liver. It neutralizes free radicals, reactive oxygen compounds, as well as phase 2 of liver detox. This is what we did. We have some beautiful distributors up in Woody and Shelley up in Canada. They really have been practitioners for over decades in the live blood field analysis. And this is what happens. You see the rouleau on the top left-hand side of this cells are clumped, okay? The subject is a 28-year-old male. And these things are done 5 minutes apart. So you see what happens is that the cellular structure, the red blood cell starts to separate. So every cell can carry oxygen, every cell can carry nutrition, every cell can carry life-giving nutrition to the cells throughout the body. And what happens if you have rouleau? None of that can happen. And furthermore, what has been demonstrated through clinical trials is that what happens is that the EMF and RF dislodge iron from the hemoglobin in your blood. And that means that your body is less oxygenated, and it causes a cytokine cascade. What the heck does that mean? That means that your immune system is constantly alert because all this excess iron floating around in your blood for no reason. It is devastating. Here's a good example of putting the Aalere bracelet on after, I think, 10 minutes it was. The shoulders are inflamed, and then they become uninflamed. And here's the same thing with the legs, around the knees. You see how the inflammation goes away by wearing the Aalere bracelet? This is actually profound. I mean, this is in 10 minutes. It's unbelievable. And people, I can't wear my Aalere bracelet at night because it's too powerful. It has to give me too much energy. But people sleep with it like babies. Everybody's completely different. Here's an example. We'll just before and after having to do with the Aalere bracelet. Wearing it for 3.5 months. Marilyn, 83. Let's just take a look at one of these things. Her BP was before 148 over 104. It went down to 132 over 89. That's a significant drop in blood pressure, right? And then, of course, this other chart talks about our other wonderful product, our Celebration, our vastly improved immune enhancer. And then her BP, after taking Celebration after 5 minutes, including the Aalere bracelet, was 125 over 84. This is from 148 over 104. This is how much healthier we become in minutes. We did a test with our Dr. Brad Thompson. He's my chiropractor. And he had a 9% improvement before and after using the Aalere bracelet, and he's still wearing it. Actually, he wears two. He wears the silver and also the rainbow one. And myself, I tested it. I had a 14% improvement in my pull. This is the dynamometer. It actually measures how strong your hand is for squeezing. So he had a 9% improvement. I had a 14%, and this was like pretty well instantly within 2 minutes. This is absolutely amazing. Well, folks, that's all I wanted to say about the Aalere bracelet today. Well, it just so happens that I came across my wife. She is a business consultant, and she talks to a lot of people all over the world. I met an interesting guy. My wife introduced me to him, and I'd like to introduce him. And this is having to do with life's challenges. Let's see if I can pull up that slide here. Okay, here we go. Werner Berger. I just want to talk to you about Werner for a while. A really, really nice guy. I really had a nice chat with him. He is uh, has the Guinness Book World Record holder, right? And I'm just going to read the article. It teaches us why focusing on results can kill your progress. At the age of 77, Werner Berger climbed the highest peak on every continent. He brought back some great business lessons for us. That's Werner right there. Now, the summit of Denali, former known as Mount Mankili, is 20,310 feet above sea level. And Werner Berger was 200 feet. 200 feet. Just 20 minutes of climbing, and he would have crossed the tallest mountain in North America off his list. The weather, however, had turned nasty, and rather than risk getting caught in the whiteout, Berger's group turned back. Everyone was so disappointed for me. I wondered how we could possibly quit that close, Berger told me. And for me, it was just a complete delight. The climb was just spectacular. I cannot even verbalize how phenomenal it was. Getting to the summit would have been nice, but it was absolutely not essential. Berger can teach the rest of us a great deal about pursuing goals while enjoying the experience. It's something he learned in his business career. He worked as a consultant and, of course, while climbing mountains. The 77-year-old would reach the summit of Denali on his third attempt and eventually become the oldest person to climb the highest mountain on all 7 continents, earning him a spot in the Guinness World Records. He also happens to be the other half of I don't know what that word means, a septuagenarian power couple with super networker Heshi Segal, whom I wrote with about the previous column. Anyways, that is his better half, Heshi is. Berger ran a small successful business until retiring at 43, when he really went into the dumps for about 3 years because he had retired from something instead of to something. He stumbled into a fulfilling career as a consultant, but he didn't start mountain climbing until he was 55, folks, when he fell in love with the idea after he and his son made a trip to the base camp of Mount Everest. What I appreciate about Berger is that he understands what he wants and why, goes after his goals with an intense passion and focus, and still enjoys the results regardless of what happens. In business, leaders too often bumble on the first part, nail the second part, and totally whiff on the third. So here's some tips for conquering all three. Embrace the why. Many leaders are great at goal setting, but their goals are based on expectations of others rather than steeped in self-awareness. Berger's leadership was enhanced when he was asked, Berger's leadership was enhanced when he asked and answered questions about things like his purpose, the legacy he wanted to leave, and the passions he had that he might be given up on. Berger's understanding of his why helped him understand his strengths and limitations, while inspiring him to focus on each moment and not give up the journey grew challenging, when the journey grew challenging. With the why answered, we can start pursuing that legacy or that passion, and that's when we start climbing that metaphorical mountain. Go together. Mountain climbing is a team endeavor, and going through it together as a team builds empathy and trust for the long haul. In business, of course, we need the right people to support us, and we need to support them. In addition to that team, we need the right guides to help along the way. This allows us to accomplish what at times are very personal goals while bonding with a community of people and creating something that goes far beyond what we set out to do on our own. Pursue the goal with passion. Berger set some very specific goals. In fact, right now he's planning to scale all 7 major peaks again by 2020. The goal matters, and so does our passion for the goal. You know how you can tell? Because you can't let go. Let it go. I'll read it again. The goal matters, and so does our passion for the goal. You know how you can tell? Because you can't let it go. That's why Berger returned to Denali until he made it to the top. Release the results. This is without doubt the hardest thing for most leaders to do. Maintain a desire to achieve a goal while at the same time allowing the journey to be something in, of, and of itself. The truth really is that if I had died after my first Denali climb, I would have still been a happy climber, Berger said, because it was an awesome experience, and yet his appreciation of the journey doesn't make him any less competitive. That non-attachment to the outcome frees us to live with joy in the moment. And combined with a competitive spirit, it actually gives us a better chance of achieving our goals. Why? Because our self-absorbed ego is out of the way and we're self-aware enough to see the big picture when the storms roll in. If you liked what you heard in this video, please share this with your downline. Thank you.